Welcome to the Fret Frontier. Today we're taking a look at the strumming stick, strum stick, picking stick, many different things it might be called. And it's a 3-string instrument that is tuned to a drone. So you just have the root and the fifth of the scale. This one is tuned to G. So our lowest string is a G, our highest string is a G, and our second string is a D. Lots of stuff you can do with this. Let's hear how it sounds. Okay, so this instrument I got from John Ressler, who is a luthier who has his own guitar line. He also does classes for how to build your own mountain dulcimer or ukulele. And back in 2019, he was doing classes on how to build your own picking stick. So I bought this picking stick or strumming stick from John, and you'll see the beautiful woods that it's made of here, and also how to string it, right? So this is a through the instrument stringing method. You use ball and steel strings, and they just go through the back of the instrument, pull them through the front, and then they go over the bridge, which is fixed. It's made out of wood, and the nut also made out of wood. We have a small sound hole in our tuning pegs and a very soft voice. So you'll notice that I have this amplified with the transducer. This is just a little microphone that you use putty to put on your soundboard of a acoustic instrument so that you can plug it in. And right now I have it plugged into a small Honeytone amp, 9-volt battery amp, just to give me a little volume. Last time I tried to do a video on this, you could hear me, but you couldn't hear the instrument. And I want you to get a fair example of the sound of this delightful folk instrument. The transducer that I'm using for this, for those that might be curious, is the Dean Markley. I did check to see if these are still made, because the one I have is, drum roll, 40 years old, and it's still working and gives me what I need for these situations where I just want to amplify a otherwise acoustic instrument so that it can be heard better. Let's take a look at how this instrument is tuned. When we take a look at the neck here, you'll see the fret spacing is different than what you would normally see on a guitar or a ukulele, right? This is more similar to a dulcimer, but only has the 3 strings. You can sit it on your lap like a guitar to play it. And as I said at the beginning, we have 2 G's, the 3rd and the 1st string, and then we have a D, which is the 5th of your G scale, as our 2nd string. So each time we strum, we basically have a chord that would be our G chord without a 3rd. So you don't hear that implied or that explicit major or minor tonality, but you have a G chord basically. So anytime you bar one of these frets, you get a chord. So let's take a look at how this instrument works. Here's the note map up on the screen. And you'll notice that by the time you get up to your 8th fret here, on each one of the strings you have your octave. So we don't have a chromatic instrument here. We start off on our 3rd string here. We have G, A, B, C, D, E, F, natural, which sounds a little weird because we're in the key of G. Then F sharp. There's our G. We've hit our octave. Then we start back A, B, C, D, and we end up on a D. And that'd be the same for the 1st string, only it's an octave higher. On our 2nd string, we start off on D, so we have D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, C sharp, sounds a little weird because it's not in the key of G, and then D, we've made it back to our octave, E, F sharp, G, and A. Okay, so when we take a look at our open chord of G, if we want to get our 1, 4, 5 going, which would be the G, count through our major scale, G, A, B, C is the 4, okay, and D is the 5, important chords in our chord structure. So here's our 1, here's our 4 on the 3rd fret, and then on the 4th fret is our 5. Go to 1, 4, 5. Wild thing, you make my heart sing. You make everything groovy. Wild thing. So there's a lot of songs with the 1, 4, 5 progression that you can play. You might not pick Wild Thing for a traditional folk instrument similar to a dulcimer, right? But you could, because once you buy it, you could play anything you want on it. So if you want to get the 3rd in to get your fuller chord sound, you have fingering charts for that. So this would be our G. This would be our C, the 4, right, another option for that, and then our D. Okay, and it would give you another opportunity to play more of a country or folk sounding version of that same progression. This here is a strumming stick, 3 strings full of fun. If I could, I'd give a strumming stick to everyone. And by the same token, if you want to use your power chords, this here is a strumming stick, 3 strings full of fun. If I could, I'd give a strumming stick to everyone. My little transducers coming loose. That's the downside to the old-fashioned transducers, right? If your putty gets pushed by something, in this case, getting pushed by me moving around, it can come start pulling up. So another group that makes strumming sticks, you can find on the McNally group, right? They sell the instruments, and they also have a learning center where they'll show you chords and different songs that you can strum. They have a wealth of information out there. It's a fun little instrument. I hope you enjoyed learning about it, and I will see you in the next episode.